Moon Studios recently posted stats about what players have been up to in the first month since No Rest for the Wicked released to early access, noting that only 30,000 players have managed to complete the Crucible. I definitely was one such player that struggled with this part of the game, so to help anyone else out here, I'm going to illustrate everything you need to know about the Crucible. While mainlining a bow and blade, I'll review weapons and armor you'll need to succeed, explain what specific attributes do and what you should look out for, cover all 8 possible Crucible runes, and what to anticipate when it comes to the final fight with Echo Knight. Alright, as far as weapons and armor are concerned, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go purchase a bow from Whitaker. Now, Whitaker sells the Yun longbow, which is awesome. It's like exactly what we need. And the particular thing about this weapon is it has a rune called Cone Shot, and that's going to carry us pretty much through the entirety of the Crucible. Now, I do not recommend enchanting the bow. Instead, what we'll do is we'll add 4 gems, and each of them are going to help give us some kind of specific benefit in a specific way. The first being, you want to deal cold damage, because it's just going to help freeze enemies when you shoot them with the bow, and I lucked out here and I got 15% extra cold damage, so that's great. Otherwise, the other key thing you're going to want to add here is the focus gem. So that's going to give you some kind of random focus on damage dealt, very important. That's how we're going to start to build this out around focus management. So I lucked out here and I got this one-handed curved sword, and it's total random drop, and it came with this, gain 1% health on damage dealt, which is huge. That's a great boon to have, no matter what. Ideally, you want to get something like that to give you some kind of health or focus percentage on damage dealt. And what we're going to do here is apply the focus gem so that we definitely get a percent of focus back on damage dealt. That's really important. What's interesting to note here too is that even though we're not really going to use this weapon all that much, the effects, these attributes, are going to be applied even to the offhand. So the bow is also going to gain this percent focus on damage dealt and the 1% health on damage dealt. So that's really critical. And when it comes to armor, you're going to want to go to the blacksmith, and you're going to want to buy the plate armor, which doesn't open up until you get to level 21. So once you can access that, that's the sort of mandatory armor you're going to need for Crucible. If you are under level 21 and you're ready to go to Crucible, you need armor, because otherwise your armor level is only going to be like 200, and you're going to need close to 800 in order to really steamroll through it. So that means you're going to have to wait, you're going to have to grind, you're going to have to get there until you can get that armor. Once you do, just enchant it, and hopefully you can get some cool stuff on it, but it doesn't really matter too much. Here we just have focus increased by 19%. That is fortunate. That is definitely going to give us a significant benefit. More focus is what we're going for. We also applied focus regeneration to the helm. You can do that with the electricity gem. I believe that's what that is. That should help you out significantly. All right, moving on to the armor. We lucked out here. We got some health regeneration. It's going to give us about 0.5 HP per second. Very good. I didn't really do anything here other than decrease the weight. Ideally, any of these attributes are useful here. It's really more important that you've got massive armor more than anything else. Moving on to the gauntlets, we got something pretty cool here. We got focus gain increased by 27%. That's the amount of focus you're going to get per hit. So inherently, when you're doing damage, you're going to gain focus. This is going to give us, 27% more of whatever that is, whether it's 1 point or 5 points of focus. It's fairly significant. So definitely try to get something, at least one of these items, try to get a focus gain increase more than anything. Finally, moving on to the pants, the greaves, right? What do we got? We got health regeneration, pretty nice. And we got reflects 3% damage taken, but nothing else relating to focus. However, we can apply the focus gem to get some random number of focus on focus use, which is pretty great. Again, it's not percentage, so every time we use a focus ability, every time we use a rune, we're going to get a certain number of focus points back. Name of the game, just focus, focus, focus. And as you go through the gauntlet, you're going to find these fierce rings, and they're fantastic. I honestly just recommend, once you find 3 of them, you're all set, because each of these is going to increase armor percent and damage dealt increase percent as well. So you're going to be able to take more damage, and you're going to deliver more damage, significantly more damage as they stack. Each of these currently stacks. That's pretty significant. All right, so let's quickly just review the Dex build. So right off the gate, we got 22 health. I'd say try to get to around 100 points, and that's fair. Stamina, I like 20 because it just gave me the most mobility. You can ignore strength. Obviously, with dexterity, put as many points as you can into this. And you can ignore intelligence, faith, and with focus, you want to try to get around 200 points. I think we're getting a bit of a bonus based on what we have here with the equipment we have equipped. For equipment loads, I had to put a lot of points in this, and you probably will too, mainly because you're more likely than not going to get some kind of weapon or armor or some kind of penalty on those items that's going to affect equipment load. I think on my sword that I've got, it cuts it down significantly. So, you know, invest into this, as it's going to help you out when you need the 800 plus armor in order to get through the Crucible. And that's really what we got here. I have upgraded my armor a bunch, and we are wearing those rings. That's going to continue to boost the armor as well. So, you know, even with 900 armor, though, I'm not invincible against Echo Knight. He can still take me out in 2 shots. So it's really important that you pump it up as much as you can, otherwise he will just one-shot you, and that's it. That's all you're gonna do. But anyway, let's get into the actual challenge rooms themselves. The first room we're gonna start off with is the Drowned Witch, and this is not very difficult. It's a pretty easy room. You just kind of run your way in here, and the first cage is gonna appear right to your left. Don't shot. One shot. And you can see how much focus damage we're getting back just from that initially. Almost 100%, but not quite. Still have to regenerate just a little bit. We got a couple of cone shots, boom, boom, done. Next ones are going to pop off towards the top right, like 2 or 3 o'clock, relative to the witch, but you can take her out easy enough. Probably going to be 1 or 2 enemies that are going to come through here, pop them, done. Super easy. Cone shot's going to make this entire process pretty straightforward. This big dude on the left, he's going to take at least 2 shots, but again, he goes down instantly. Barely an inconvenience. Just collect the loot, get what you need to do, and get on to the next room. This one's not too tough. Now, one important thing to understand about all these rooms is that there's 8 of them in total, but as you progress towards the night, you have to fight your way through 7 of them. So there's always going to be one that's omitted, but I'm going to cover all 8 here, just so, you know, a reference. It's good for you to understand what you might face. Alright, that's it for the Drowned Witch. Now we're going to get into the Aqueduct. Alright, now we're going to get into one that I call the Aqueduct, and it's a fairly small room, but before you even get down below, you can cone shot this dude, finish him off with an extra shot just to take him out. Right above him is going to be a witch. Again, boom, done. Pretty much 100% of the time, that witch is going to be there. Now, there's also this really big dude over here, 1 and a 2, and he's down. Just keep cone shotting your way through the place. It's really easy. And there are a few things about this room that I would just avoid as you make your way through the enemies, which shouldn't really pose much of a problem. This one over here, you can try to hook the camera a little bit to anticipate him, and just fire when he's about to attack, as that leaves him vulnerable to damage. Otherwise, his shield's going to protect him. Same with this guy, right? He's attacking mid-swing, boom, take him out. Take out the witch, and once you hear the door open, you're good. There's more treasure past this one point further on that aqueduct, but just ignore it. There's a high chance that you're just going to fall and ruin your run, so just, you know, there's plenty of loot to be found here. Missing 1 chest really isn't going to make much of a difference, so... Alright, that's it for the Aqueduct. This next one I call the Forest, for obvious reasons. And as you come in here, you're going to have a great shot at this knight. Just boom. If he doesn't go down in 1 shot, take him out with just a straggler arrow. There may be a witch often on this tree stump. It's kind of 50-50. There's also some treasure right here to your right that's easy to miss. Make sure you loot that. Plenty of good stuff. Alright, as we go up, there's going to be a witch. She's going to try to snipe you, but just make your way as quickly as possible through the vines, up and up and up. This guy's going to ambush you right to your right. Do your best to avoid him and make him your priority. Take him out as soon as you can. Take some time to reorient the bow. It doesn't always fire exactly where you want it to after you've been hit or something like that. So just try to keep that in mind as you reorient yourself once you get up here. Otherwise, keep your distance from the big hammerman, and he's down. There may also be a witch on this other tree stump, but often not if she spawns down below. Otherwise, it's a pretty easy room, and once you get through it, that's it. That's it for the forest. So let's move on to the next one. Alright, for this one I call it the Waterfall. And again, it's the one with the waterfall. It's hard to forget it. So you run backwards in this one. Oh, I'm mixing it up. And you're going to climb your way through the pool. There might be a couple of enemies in this area right as you get out. Do your best to take them out. Otherwise, use this perch and just snipe as many as you can. There's a witch in the background. Do your best to take her out. She's just kind of annoying. And for this guy on the bottom of the screen, he can be a little tough to target, but inevitably you'll get him. And once we go over to the left here, you're going to find another hammer guy. Take out the stalactite, and once you can do some damage to him, then you can use the cone shot. And just 1, 2, and boom. Down he goes. Now there may be 1 or 2 knights over to the left. Again, it's kind of 50-50. Alright, here we got 2. 1. He's probably down. And the cone shot again, it's just devastating. You can see there, missed the targeting. Actually using the sword to try to get some health back. And boom. The shield did not abide. And he's down. Just be cautious. I think another thing to note about the cone shot is it will push you back a bit. So if you're near a ledge, be cautious, because it could push it right off the edge. And that's no good to anybody. There's also about a 50-50 chance that there might be another knight up here once you climb these vines, but usually not if there's 2 below. So just run around the corner, grab the last of the loot, and that's going to do it for the waterfall. Pretty easy. Can't be tricky, but I mean, there's so many opportunities to snipe the enemies here that it ain't too bad. Alright, moving on, we got what I call the Birch Nest, and this is one of the more difficult rooms, the longer rooms, and it has a lot of drop-off points, so it's fairly dangerous. But before you even drop down here, you can start sniping some of these knights. You will have to move ahead a little bit if there's 2 of them. Take that guy out, then take out the witch to the right. And one important thing to note, as we get back to the left here, there actually is a birch tree that you can cut down. This will respawn every time you play through this particular room. So if you need birch for certain, upgrades for your house or things like that, this is where you find it. Again, you might only get 1 or 2, but you have a good chance of finding additional birch in chests. So, just make your way up. This is rare that there is a knight at this point, but, you can take him out here. I think otherwise he's going to spawn just a bit to the bottom of the screen, where this is a little tricky because if he's already taken out, he'll either ambush you here along with the big axe dude up here. So take this guy out, 2 shots, down. Not really a problem. And then there's going to be another witch just up ahead. So, 1, 2, boom, she's gone. That's nothing. Run around because there is a chest behind the fence here. Pretty easy. You might get lucky. Could be something good here. I think I actually did find a bear paw there once, so it definitely pays to loot every chest you can find in here, except the ones that are going to cause you death from fall. Now from here, take out the knight. He's got no shield usually, so he's pretty easy to pick off here. And 1 and 2, and now he's gone. Alright, great. He didn't drop anything, but there's going to be a witch at the top of these stairs. Again, angle yourself carefully if you're going to use the cone shot, otherwise just do what I'm doing here and chop her to bits with a fire sword. And make your way through here. This is where it gets a little risky because you can certainly fall to your death easy enough. Oftentimes it might be better just to kite the knights back down the path so that you have a little bit more maneuverability. Otherwise, just run up here, grab the chest, and that should be it. This is, again, a fairly tricky room. Just take your time going through it because you want to kite the enemies to you. Don't rush in or you're going to get overwhelmed. There's just too many of them, and they're placed very close together, so be wary. Alright, next up at number 6, we are getting to the sewer. This is a very short map, very easy to get through. There's going to be a large enemy in the center. Usually 2 cone shots is all you need to take him out. And then just kind of make your way on either side. This is just a big circular room. So any of these enemies, the witches or those weird abominations, I don't know what you would call them, just do your best. Take them out. Should be easy enough to snipe. And again, you can really see the build in action here, as every shot that we're taking is generating nearly, it's about 90% of the focus expended. So we're within a pretty good range of not necessarily having an infinite amount of focus and completely cheesing the thing. You know, there's still some room for error here, so this is enough of a challenge. Anyway, that's a really simple map. The sewer's straightforward enough. Now we're going to get to the 7th room, which I just called Sunflower Fields, because it's the only one with sunflowers. And from here, you have a great sniping advantage. You can pick off most of the enemies, and if you're lucky, they'll even get curious of what's happening to the other enemies, and they'll kind of get down within your range. Otherwise, just make your way through this path all the way around, and you should be able to just pick off this knight easy enough. This crate is useful if you want to just get up here and get around him or kind of get behind him so that you don't have to run up where he's got the high ground there. And, easy enough to dispatch. A couple of shots, he's done. There was a chest over to the left of the door here. You do want to grab that before you head out. Otherwise, that's pretty easy. Alright, so that's the general 7, but there is an 8th room we can discuss that I call the Mistlands. So this one is pretty easy as well. It's not a really big room, and you have a lot of opportunities to snipe from the very beginning here. You can almost always take out 1 or 2 enemies without even jumping down. 1 and 2, and they're dead. Alright, so then just make your way around to this point here where you can pick off the witch opposite you. Run back around, jump over here to this middle structure. And there's usually a huge enemy, so 2 shots will take him out, but he won't be able to get to you or even close to you. The spacing of the enemies here is fairly common. I'd say there's maybe 50% chance there'll be 2 enemies over where that huge dude was. Usually not if there's 1 straggler enemy in this room. Although there can be a chest in that space too, where that enemy just was. Otherwise, that's it. Those are all 8 of the challenge rooms, and they're not too bad, but, playing them in random orders or not knowing what to anticipate can certainly be tricky. So now we're going to get into the Echo Knight itself. This is a point where you should use whatever consumables you think are going to give you significant advantages. I completely forgot to do it here, but, this is a good test of the build anyway. As he rushes you, the first thing he's going to do is charge at you, and you're going to want to get out of the way. You can get 1 shot off beforehand, but don't push your luck. As he's going through this second part of his attack series, he's going to do these massive swings and launch those purple fireballs. Just as he strikes the ground, that's when you want to dodge out of the way. Otherwise, what you want to do here is just try to keep a fair amount of distance between you and him. His attacks are all telegraphed, so they're not too bad. And then again, as we attack, we're going to get health, we're going to get our focus back, and this is a great distance to be here, because he really can't do much. And even if he uses this the blue lightning attack, the cone shot's actually going to push you out of the range of that attack, so it's very useful. Now, when he gets off the mount, he is going to charge you again, and he's going to do a lot of devastating damage that can quickly stagger you. So, again, first thing, make a lot of distance. And as you get through this, just try to dodge as constantly as possible to put as much space between them. You can see it's pretty good. I'm not the expert at this, but, I'm able to dodge enough that I can regain my health. I can heal when I need to. Keep an eye on your health. Make sure that if you need to heal, you do it. He is devastating even in second phase, so don't push your luck. But otherwise, just keep at it. Keep putting the distance between them. If you need extra focus, just hit him with a few standard arrows, and you should gain enough quickly to do another cone shot and take him out. And that'll be it. and then you're done. You'll finally have beaten the Crucible, and you'll be one of the hopefully many few coming soon at this point, because it's a massively difficult challenge, but I think it's fair to try to create a build around focus game, because focus is what's going to give you not even really an advantage against him. I just think it's leveling the playing ground. You know, it's leveling the playing field. He is going to two-shot you, so you need something. You need as much firepower as you can get in order to devastate him. And, you know, it's not even that cheap. You know, I see a lot of people talk about, oh, it's rune spam or whatever, but it's like, that's how the game's supposed to be played. And really, up until this boss, I never needed runes too much. Like, they were cool, but I didn't use them all that exclusively. And so this boss really makes you try to tune the build and figure out how best you can take advantage of that rune system and the focus regeneration, everything like that. So, you know, that's it. That's all you gotta do. Just focus, and you should be all set. So, all right, that's all we got for this. I hope it helped you out. I hope you learned something. And, you know, give a Dex build a shot. Dex is pretty fun. Having a blast with it. Probably going to continue with this. Because I just love the bow. I love the changes they made to the bow recently in that patch, where it no longer requires focus to use the standard arrow. It just uses stamina. It made it really viable. And I was doing Dex anyway, and it's just excellent. So, highly recommend it. Otherwise, that's all I got. So, you know, get the hell out of here. Bye-bye.